just in time for our weekly chat here in my podcast. And today's video, again, I would like to apologize for having this very late compared to our usual weekly post. And I'll be explaining it along the way as I tackle a very important topic here in my Just in Time for Chat podcast. And last week, I went to Japan, specifically Nagasaki, for my business trip. And it went successfully. I was able to accomplish all the tasks I needed to do there, and now I'm back here in South Korea. So while I was there, I cannot really fully do these kinds of video. So once I'm back here in South Korea, I've decided to have this as my topic. Based on my 1 week in Japan, specifically in Nagasaki, I want to share with you some of the differences and similarities that I've noticed about life in Japan and life here in South Korea. If you're new to my channel, new to my social media accounts, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to know more contents like this, again, the button is there. You may click it so you'll be notified for my weekly podcasts. And let's go. So on October 25, I went to the Incheon International Airport Terminal 2 and boarded the plane going to Nagasaki, Japan. So it's my second time going to Japan. My first one is in Tokyo, which is like the city central. But this time I went to Nagasaki, and this is where one of the atomic bombs were dropped during the war. So the other one is in Hiroshima, and then the other one is Nagasaki. So the place, Nagasaki City, I really enjoyed it. It's ideal for introverts, I think, because it's the life there is very laid back. It's very slow. Even if it's Japan, I felt the stillness, like very stoic, very slow. You from time to time you'll feel the rush hour, but like majority of the day it's very relaxed. And even if I'm there for a business trip, to be honest, I was able to relax and enjoy because a lot of my meetings ended like 6 p.m. So from 6 to 9, I had free time and be able to go around. The downside of having a very calm city is that a lot of things ends at most of the things end at 8, 9 p.m. Unlike here in Seoul that you can enjoy and like go outside coffee shops until 10, 11, 12, but there 8 p.m., 9 p.m., completely done. Like imagine there's a mall just in the Nakasaki station. So it closes at 8 p.m. Imagine 8 p.m. So you cannot have dinner in that specific mall because majority of the restaurants closes at 8, 9 p.m. So that's how one of the differences. And for me as an introvert, I really appreciated that kind of scenario, to be honest. And I wanted to go back, or probably if I go back to Japan, I'll try to travel to non-mainstream places. Like I guess Saga is another good place. There's another prefecture that I want to travel, and then the other one is Hokkaido. But I don't want to travel to like go back to Tokyo again because I want to explore. Japan is very big. You can go to experience a lot of places, and probably a year will not be enough for you to explore the whole country. In terms of like expenses, I think it's more expensive in Japan compared to the expenses here in South Korea, specifically in food. Because in Japan, specifically in Nagasaki, you won't be able to enjoy a meal with less than with like $5. In South Korea, at least $5 you'll be able to enjoy a restaurant, a fast food or something like a fast food restaurant meal. But in Nagasaki specifically, at least they $10 would be the minimum for these kinds of expenses. Which, as a foodie, I find it very hard to reconcile that if that's the cost here, I should be earning more in terms of monthly earnings to be able to survive the kind of lifestyle I have here in South Korea. And in Nagasaki area specifically, I was not able to find some of the things I really enjoyed in South Korea, which is the fried chicken. So I enjoyed like BHC, BBQ, Kyochon. These are my, if I'm hungry and I don't want to think of what to eat, I would just automatically order those. But in when I was in Nagasaki, I find it very hard to find these kinds of shops. So my go-to places for Nagasaki were Lawson, 7-Eleven, and Family Mart. I was able to enjoy the variety of food they have in the convenience store, which I think is, in terms of variety of food, they have more compared to the Korean convenience store. But the Korean convenience store is cheaper. They have a lot of offerings like promos, 1 plus 1, 2 plus 1, and such. In Japan, I was not able to experience anything of that value. And also, since I really like drinking protein juice, protein shake, so I tried consuming such shake in Japan. It was way expensive. Here in South Korea, I can get higher value, higher content of protein from protein juices, protein shakes with the less price. So I think in terms of convenience store, if you're looking for variety, you can go to Japan. But if you're looking for cost efficient food, it's in South Korea. So yeah. And then climate, the Nagasaki area is on the south of Japan. So imagine it's the Jeju of South Korea. Hence, the temperature is the same as to Jeju and it's hotter there, which I really liked because when I left Korea for that October 25, it was very cold. So I strategically planned my outfit that it would be very versatile, that even if it's cold, I can use a coat to top my existing clothes, and then if it's getting warm, I can just remove my coat and then just go with my semi-casual outfit. It worked, and fortunately, I was able to enjoy the weather from October 25 to October 31st, because in that week there was no rain except on the last day, probably nighttime of October 31st until the November 1, which is my flight going back here to South Korea. So for this business trip, I just want to share that it's all expense paid by my company, and even the transportation, even the plane, the hotel. I even received food allowance, living expenses while I was in Nagasaki, which I really appreciate. And probably in my next videos, I'll be sharing more information about my appreciation about work, newfound appreciation of my current work. Since I guess in my last few videos, I really tried my best to see the silver lining from this working life I'm doing, and I think I'm getting there. I'm getting more understanding of what I'm doing, and probably it's helping me get more motivation to do my work and accomplish. But that's a story for another video. So again, going back, if you're into very exciting, very fast-paced life, I highly suggest South Korea, Seoul specifically. If you want to do that in Japan, Tokyo is your place. Tokyo probably is your city. But if you're looking for like introverted lifestyle, very chill, tram, it's Nagasaki for you. I think in South Korea there was no tram, so I can't really compare. But again, it was a fun experience. The only thing I want to warn you when going to Japan is like sometimes, or majority of the restaurants and stores do accept credit cards, but from time to time there are restaurants that do not accept card payments. So it's still a must that you carry some kind of yen, money of the Japanese, in order to pay some of the restaurants and even for some of the stores there. In South Korea, I think specifically in the cities, they highly accept cards, be it international cards, foreigner cards, or like local cards. But again, sometimes there are instances when I see a lot of foreigners, Filipinos specifically, cannot order through the online ordering app, like food ordering app, because they think um, international credit cards are not accepted. To be honest, it's accepted. You just have to navigate and find your way within. But yeah, those are my simple differences and similarities. Well, similarities. Discipline is one, timeliness is two, third is very trustworthy. So let's go with discipline. The people there, if there's a line, they would line properly. I've seen some instances wherein there's disruption in South Korea, but majority of the time, 90% of the time, they do the same thing. They're very disciplined. The instances wherein there are like disruptions in lines and such are usually caused by foreigners. So please don't be that kind of foreigner. So the second one is timeliness. In South Korea, when you wait for buses, you'll see in the app, Kakao Map or Naver Map, the arrival time. In South Korea, they always, most of the time, always would arrive on time on the dot, which is similar to what happens in Japan. Like if they say 7:30, they depart 7:30. They won't wait for you even for one more minute. They'll go, wait for the next bus. That's how it works. And lastly, trustworthiness. Again, living in South Korea for almost 5 years now, I can attest to that. That people here don't care if you're leaving your MacBook in the table in the coffee shop while waiting or ordering. They won't care about your MacBook nor your wallet. In Japan, it follows the same thing. If you leave your stuff in the road, like the cards, the next time you travel the same route, you'll be able to see your card. No one will touch it. Like they don't really. It's not that they don't care. It's more of they're afraid because there are like CCTVs watching. So it's just that precaution is there, and also probably it's in their culture not to mind other people's business. So if you're fighting or like having like vlogging and such, they won't care. Except if you're doing it in the subway because they don't want you talking inside the subway. So again, if you're traveling to these places, I highly suggest researching, watching these kinds of video so you'll be able to get information how to live there, how to adapt, and be able to make the most out of your travels, be it in South Korea or in Japan. If you like these types of content, feel free to share some topics in the comment section. I'll surely try to discuss them in the next video. But till then, bye bye.